answer that? Any volunteers? Navjot, how many types of controllers do we have? Visual force controllers.
I have no idea. I think.
Have you heard of visual force controller?
No.
No? Visual force effects. Have you guys done visual force effects?
Yeah, Visual Force Apex. Yeah, I've done that. Not the controller.
You have done visual force, but you have not heard about the controller. Anyone else like Mohit? Any idea on what is a visual force controller?
No, I don't want to take a wrong guess.
Okay, now I just want to understand quickly. I mean, anyone can tell me, maybe Mohit or Navjot, whoever, or anyone else. Can you just give me a brief of what did you do in Visual Force? So your understanding what all things were covered and how they were covered and all, so that I have a good understanding of what was done.
Yeah, I mean, I think visual force control, as far as I remember, because we did go through that. Isn't it something that you open to put the codes in, I guess, and create the pages through Apex? I mean, just what I remember briefly. I mean,
right. So do you have? Okay. Did you create any sample page or something?
I mean, yeah. I mean, not myself, but I think it was. Yeah, we saw the demonstration. Yeah.
Okay. So how many pages were demonstrated during the training?
I mean, multiple, I guess. Quite. I mean, as far as I remember, if I am right on what I've seen is what it is, I guess.
Okay. So while those pages were created, did you use any controller thing? Anyone who remembers there was something called controller, standard controller, custom controller?
Yes, we have standard controllers, custom controller, extend controllers, I think so. And we use Visual Force to control to database that we want to exclude. Instead of we use the bay layout or something, I think so.
Sorry, what was that last thing we use Visual Force for?
Yes, we used to exclude data from Salesforce.
Okay. All right. So first thing that you guys have to do is go back, and is there a way you can go back and revise the sessions that were done? Do you have the recordings or something?
Yes, I think they were shared on Dropbox.
Okay. So first thing you have to do is go back, look into the videos, because what I understand, because most of you are not able to answer what is a controller. My understanding then becomes that you guys are very poor in Visual Force. Controller is the first thing that you need to start creating a Visual Force page. I mean, you cannot. I do not know how did you guys skip that part, and why are you not aware of that? So if that was discussed and then you guys do not know, I mean, I think you guys need to put a little bit of time, go through the recordings and then look into those. That is very important, right?
I think that's what it is, I guess. Yeah.
So other point is that even if you plan to go for a functional consultant role, there are a couple of things which I want you guys to understand very frankly. I would talk about that. For functional consultant role, the openings are not as many as the developer's role. That is point one. So getting into functional consultant role, you will have lesser openings. That is one thing. Second thing is to get into functional consultant's role, you again have to have that domain understanding, business understanding side of things. Like if you want to get into a banking domain, or you just want to get into a manufacturing domain. So you also need to have the understanding of the business process in that particular domain. Only knowing the Salesforce tools might not be enough there, right? So from that point of view also, you need to have some understanding of the developer, even if you want to become a functional consultant, because chances are there that you end up becoming a techno-functional. So for techno-functional, you have to have some technical knowledge, right? So you cannot completely ignore visual force thing, right? So that is there. Now since Dan was, yeah, please go ahead.
Sorry, just something that I just recollected, I guess, is with the visual force controller, is it something that you create, like, buttons and stuff like that, where people
No.
would click and...
Controller is what will have all the logic. See, visual force is what? It just creates a front end page, right? But while you have created a page in the front end and your data is all sitting in the back end, you have to do some sort of connection between the front end and the back end, right? What data to be displayed, what logics to work, what happens when you click on a button, all those things, right? So controller is what holds all these logics. That can be standard controller, it can be custom controller, or it can be a controller extension. 3 types of controllers we have, right? So that is what our visual force controllers are. Got it? So if we do not have controllers, then our page cannot be connected to the backend database. So I cannot connect my page to the backend database without a controller. So that is there. Got it? Okay. So we have that visual force controller thing here. Okay, apart from that, tell me about what is SOQL. Anyone who can answer? Partish?
SCCS is something like SQL. It means we can find the data from the Visual Force path. It's some language like SQL in Visual Basic or something.
Some language like SQL in Visual Basic?
Yes.
Or Visual Force? Where do you use SOQL? It's a language like SQL, that's correct, true. Where do you use that? To retrieve data from where?
To create queries, like,
That's fine.
in Apex?
Queries, correct?
In Apex?
In
Apex.
Right, in Apex you use this. Okay. And you can also use it in data loader while exporting the data.
Okay.
Alright, now what is SOSL? SOQL, we understand it's a query language. What is SOSL?
It is a search language.
Okay. So what is that? Search language? Is it same as SOQL? Is it different? What is the difference? Sharon, can you tell us a little about SOSL? What is SOSL?
I'm sorry. No,
No idea? From. Okay. Parthesh, you want to try?
Yeah, I think it's a language that allows you to specify some kind of search object or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you can, like in SOQL, you can query one at a time. I think with SOSL you can do multiple or something. Something like that, I guess. I don't remember exactly.
Or I think it's with SOSL you can search and find records for one or more objects.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yes. In SOQL you can find records in one object. SOSL you can use to find records in the entire database. Alright. So, okay. The next question that I'm going to ask is on trigger. Okay, so the next question will be for Navjot. Hey, just give me 1 minute, huh? Just 1 quick minute. I'll just be back. Yep. Alright, I'm back. Okay. So now Sharon to tell me how many trigger events do we have? How many types of trigger events do we have? Trigger events, how many types of trigger events?
Hi Jeet, this is Navjot.
Yeah, Navjot.
I'm sorry I'm interrupting you in between. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you in between. It's SOSL is like to search one object and SOQL is to like search multiple objects. That's what you said? Okay, SOQL is one. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I got it. Thanks.
Yeah, Sharon, trigger events, how many types of trigger events do we have? What are the different trigger events? You know what is a trigger, right? Apex trigger?
Yeah, Apex code.
Apex trigger is Apex code, okay, which gets executed on one of the trigger events.
Insert, update, merge,
Only 3?
delete.
What else? Is there something called before insert, after insert?
Yeah.
Right. So how many of them? Okay. Parthish, can you name how many trigger events?
Yeah, I can try. I think there's insert,
Before
update,
insert, after insert, 2. Before update, after update, 4.
delete, merge, and undelete, and upsert.
No.
No.
No. Okay, so we have before insert, after insert, before update, after update, before delete, after delete, and after undelete. 7.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now we have Cecily here. Cecily, what is trigger.new? Parthish, microphone on mute, please.
All right.
Cecily, trigger.new, what is that? What is trigger.new?
No, hey, Judy, I'm not sure what it is.
Okay. Then Dang, what is trigger.new?
I believe that this is the command that we can create a new trigger.
No. Mohit, trigger.new?
Trigger.new is maybe, I don't remember. I've heard of it, but I don't remember.
Okay. Navjot, trigger.new?
I think it's in use in an SOQL
I think
query.
it's a new trigger. To search a new trigger or something?
No. Okay, it's a method which basically returns the value of the current record in context which is being inserted. For account A is trigger.new, which means S object A equals to the record which is getting inserted. Trigger.new is for the record which is being inserted into the Salesforce database, right? So that is where you use trigger.new. Clear?
Mean to say to create a new object? Is that what you mean?
New record, not new object, new record on a trigger when it is getting
Oh, new
created.
record. Okay. Okay, new.
Okay. Fine. So Fine. I think I understand most of the things. Now, anyone has any questions apart from these things? Anyone has any questions? So, first thing that you'll all have to do is go through all the videos, take out time, whatever videos you have on the Dropbox of your sessions, go through all the videos, repeat everything, and understand the basics of that programming side also, because you have done the training, you have attended sessions, you should have these simple small answers, right? Even if you plan to become a functional consultant, then also you should know these basic things. Whatever I have asked, I have not asked you any scenario based questions. Did I ask you to write a program? Did I ask you any syntaxes? No. I just want you to understand the basic things, like what is an SOQL, what is a SOSL, what is a trigger, events. I just asked very basic questions, right? And unfortunately you guys are not able to answer on those, so which is not a very good thing, right, at this point of time. So go through all the videos, whatever you have, and try to get answers to these simple things, right? Got it? Okay. Now, apart from this, do you have any other questions that you guys want to ask?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead. Who is this?
Is it possible that we can get few sample resumes?
Sample resumes, I think Amer would be the right person. So who is marketing a resume and all?
I don't know.
Alright. So the person who would be marketing the resumes would be the right person to get you the sample resumes. I think I would ask Amer to help you in that.
Okay.
Alright. Apart from that, any other thing? Technically, any questions that you guys have, any area where you feel that, okay, fine, you need to understand a little more?
Jeet, the format that you started, with asking questions and all, I think that is helping us to understand, where we stand. So it would be nice if I don't know how many sessions we have with you.
Including today's session, 5 more sessions.
Yeah, so it would be nice to do that and, even get into scenario-based questions. I mean, it is helping me. I don't know about others.
Right, I can understand that part, that it's helping you guys, but the only thing that I want to do here is, because while I ask questions, I ask in bits and pieces, right? So my suggestion would be, if you guys can, go back and, look into all the topics and come up with your questions, then your, basics on all the topics will get clear. Now, like I talked about SOQL, so out of the blue it came out and I asked SOQL, and then I come to SOSL, that is. Right. So this is a good practice if you guys have done your homework. I mean, if you have gone through all the topics, you have asked your questions, and then I try to ask you a little complex questions and then give you an idea on that. So that is what, definitely I will continue to ask you questions from here and there, but I want that thing also to be done, that you come to me with your own doubts, right? That will be very good.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Now, what is a package? Have you heard of a package? What is a package? Sandeep, what is a package?
Yeah.
Sandeep Patel, what is a package? Not there? Cannot hear? Alright. Yeah, Dan, go ahead.
Package agent is a collection of apps that we want to discuss in Salesforce.
License of app. See,
collection.
Collection of?
Yes, a collection of apps that we have in Salesforce.
Only apps or something else as well?
And I think components and anything related.
Collection of components, that's absolutely correct. So that can be apps, that can be objects, that can be some workflow rule, that can be a validation rule, anything, right? So it's a collection of components. Now, why do we need package, Mohit? Package we have understood, right? What is a package? Package is basically a collection of components of Salesforce. That's absolutely correct. That's what Dang said. Now, why do I need package? Why do I need to create that collection of components?
So we can, I think if you have those components and the apps, you know, in a package, I think it's, you can, you know, have a, just, you know, you can share it with other people. I mean, have
yeah. For distribution.
Yeah, distribution.
Right. So it's like if I have multiple components and I want to share it with someone else who is outside my organization, then I put them all in a package and give the package to the other person. Right?
Yep.
So if you have created an app, let's say now Cecily is working on a recruiting app and she's developing it on her developer org. Now once that app is ready, some of you feel, let's say Sharon and Navjot and Parthesh, three of them feel that, okay, your recruiting app is very nice. We want to use it in our office. Can you share that app with us? Now that recruiting app is not one component. It comprises of multiple things, right? It has the app, the objects, tabs, validations put inside that, workflows inside that, approvals inside that, page layouts. There's so many things, right? Which make that complete app. Now she has to share all these things. So instead of sharing all these things one by one, she has to create a package, put all the necessary components inside that, and then she can share that package with whoever, let's say with Sharon. Now Sharon will need to install that package on her developer org, and while she installs that package, she will get all the components of that package in her app, in her developer org. Got it? All the objects, all the workflows, all the validations, all the fields, all the apps, everything will come.
Just a question, you know, because I mean, you could share, like you just gave an example, you could share all the components with, say, somebody who's working, you know, like you said, you know, sharing an app so they can maybe use it. But it could also be shared shared with clients. I mean, would there be a difference in the way you share your package? I mean, if you know what I mean, would it be different? Would it be packaged differently? I mean, would there be a difference?
When you're sharing with the client?
Or with, you know, if you're sharing with a client, or you're sharing, compared to if you're sharing with somebody who is not a client.
I think the best way to share with the clients to put the application on the App Exchange. No.
See,
so that
yeah. So see, there are a few things that we need to understand here. You cannot straight away go and put an application on App Exchange. Before that, you have to be, you know, a partner with Salesforce, and you have to agree on certain terms and conditions. So that is, you know, not an option for everyone.
Okay.
Fine. So I cannot, you know, all of a sudden start selling applications on App Exchange. I can do that because I'm a partner, but anyone cannot start doing that, right? So let's say if you're a small vendor and you have designed an application, now you want to give it to your client. Then you can simply put it in a package and give it to the client. Or let's say you have been developing something on a developer org, and now you want to use that on your production org or your client's org, then you can do a package. So it's a temporary solution if you do not have a license to upload things on App Exchange, right? That is number one thing. Secondly, I think the question that Mohit was trying to ask is more on the security aspect. You were trying to say that would I expose all the resources to the client?
That's right.
Is that
yes,
what you're trying to understand? Yeah.
That's right. So they cannot, replicate.
They cannot replicate it, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they will see the components, but only thing that we can control in a package is we can control the code that we have written. The rest everything, all the declarative things of Salesforce, they can see. So like the objects which have been used, because they have to see, they have to make the entries and all, right? So you can restrict the visibility of the code that you have written. Okay, so that is your property.
Okay.
Rest everything is Salesforce property, so Salesforce does not want to restrict that. But the
Right.
code that you have written, every line of code you can completely restrict the visibility to the code that has been written. The visual force pages that you have written, that's your thing. But page layout, if you have designed any of them, those will be visible to them and they will be able to edit those as well. Right. So any declarative development which has been done, that gets shared with the client. But any programming code that you have written, that does not get shared. Got that?
Okay, thank you.
So we understand this thing. So in package, there are two types of package. One is managed package. Managed package is the one that I'm talking about, where your client will not get to see your development resources, your code and all. And then there is unmanaged package. Unmanaged package, as the name suggests, it is just 1 minute. Huh? So unmanaged package is where all the code is revealed. And managed package is where code is not revealed. So we have both the options. Sometimes I am trying to move my package from one org to other org. At that time I do not mind revealing the code. So then I should create an unmanaged package. If I don't want to reveal the code, then I should create a managed package. So these are the two options that we have for packaging. Yeah, someone was asking a question.
Yeah, Jeet, so does the edition have any influence on this? The edition or the licenses?
From you're talking about it from the point of view of the seller or the buyer.
I don't know. I'm just thinking that if this is giving us access to components, I'm asking if there is any restriction based on editions or the license. I am not sure whether.
Okay. So definitely then you are talking from the point of view of the buyer. Because seller, definitely I have to have access, then only I have created it and I'm creating
Yeah, yeah.
package, right?
Yeah, that
Now,
makes sense. Okay.
Now let's say you have created a package. Now this package has 3 objects: employees, jobs, salaries. Okay. Your package name is HR app. Okay. Try and understand this thing. Trying to break things into pieces so that understand. So Cecily created this package. Okay. Now I get this package. I purchase this package. I pay some money to Cecily and I buy this package, HR app. Now what I'll need to do? I'll need to install it on my org. Install in my org. Okay. So for installing, definitely I need to have admin access and all. So I have admin access. I have installed it. On installation, what I told you is that once you install this thing, all the components get installed in your system. So now my org will have these 3 objects: employees, jobs and salaries. Got it? So these 3 objects, we are just talking about, let's say we just have 3 objects in the package. We do not have anything else. So these 3 objects got added into my org. Okay. In addition to all the existing components, these 3 things also got added. Now the only thing that I have to worry about is, now this is an internal thing. Now it has got nothing to do with the external package, right? These are internal objects. Now the security or the accessibility to these objects depends exactly the way it depends. It works for any other object in my org. The profile, permission set, everything works the same way for these objects also. Now this is not a package anymore. These are all individual components in my org, right? So all the permissions or the licenses which are required to access other objects, those will be required to access these objects also. Does that make sense? So once it comes into my org, yeah.
But I'm asking, is there any particular component? I mean, during your in your experience, is there any particular component which you come across that it cannot be, which depends on the addition of Salesforce that you have, that component that cannot be shared?
depends on the addition of the Salesforce. Okay. See, addition of the Salesforce is, restricts what? That restricts only the standard objects, right? But standard object is what you are not going to put in the package. What you are packaging is all custom things. What
All
you
the
have designed.
custom objects.
Right.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
So it's not that I have an enterprise edition which has, let's say, campaigns, okay, and then I give it to a group edition guy who does not have campaigns and he starts using campaigns. That will not happen because Salesforce people are smart enough, right? So they have restricted that. So this package is only for what we designed. It's not for the standard text. Because standard will be with you also, right? If you have purchased a license and if you are eligible to use those standard objects, you will have that. So that part does not come into the package part. Correct?
Yeah. Okay. Understood. Thank you.
All right. So that's about packages. Now this is if you have developed something in an org and then you are transferring it to another org which is not, these two orgs, I'm assuming that these two orgs are not connected. Okay. That is what we are talking about. Then comes the scenario where we talk about packages in connected orgs. Can anyone tell me what is this concept of connected orgs? How and when will I have connected orgs? Two Salesforce orgs or two Salesforce environments which are connected to each other, not independent but connected to each other.
Is it through the
I think one company with two different.
Sorry, what is that?
Yeah, one company with two different
No.
One company with two different departments, no?
No. Why will two orgs be connected? What is the logic here?
Okay.
Is it something to do with the partner?
No.
No.
Think about it. Very common thing, happens everywhere. Used everywhere. Okay, let me give you a hint.
Are they sharing? Are they sharing?
Let me give you a hint. I'll just share a concern with you. I have an org and I am doing some customization or development activity here. I am concerned if something wrong goes on this, then I might lose on some important data or some important information. Got that? If I have an org and I do the development activity there, if something wrong goes, with the, whatever command I'm trying to run, I might lose on some really important data or really important information. No?
So something to do with backing it up or something? Or?
Yeah, something on those lines. What is this?
Sandbox?
What is the sandbox?
Oh yeah, sandbox and
Production.
Production, yeah. That's a connect. Oh yeah.
Connected orgs, basically, this is, there can be other connected orgs, but this is the most common thing. Every organization almost will have this kind of a, wherever development is possible, definitely. Starting from a professional edition, wherever customization and development is possible, there is this concept of sandbox. Why sandbox? Sandbox is the development environment or the test environment. So you do not start developing everything right on the production. Production is something which needs to be kept clean, right? I cannot do experiments on production. However, I can do experiments on sandbox. So these are two similar looking environments. They are connected to each other. Okay. So when you buy licenses, Salesforce allows you sandboxes as well, right? So when you purchase the production license, they allow you to have a sandbox also. You can create sandbox. Okay. And then you can use that sandbox to try all your development stuff. Okay, so sandbox is like, remember in childhood days we used to have one notebook where we used to perform all the mathematical things, incorrect ones, and then finally when we used to get the correct solution, then we used to put it in our the final notebook that is to be shown to the teacher. Right? So it's same kind of concept. Because the moment you start thinking of developing something, you might not get the correct solution on the first attempt. You might end up designing 3-4 extra objects and then deleting them. So all that thing cannot happen on the production. It's not a very good thing to do all those things on the production. So for that reason, try everything on the sandbox, and then once things are working okay on the sandbox, you feel that, then create a package in the sandbox and send it to production. Same way, packaging concept, right? Give me 1 minute. There's a terminology which is used here, I somehow cannot recollect that. Change set, yes, it is called change set. So for sandbox and production, this package is not called package. The concept is package only, but it is called a change set. Okay, so in case of a sandbox, you don't call it a package. Package is a terminology which is used if you are creating a package and then giving it to some unconnected org, the org which is not connected. But sandbox and production, if you're talking about, then we create change set. Change set concept wise is exactly same as a package, but don't use the terminology package there. If you, let's say if someone is asking you what kind of an application did you develop and how did you move it from sandbox to production, don't use the terminology package, because it's not package, it is called change set. Concept is exactly the same, there is no difference in the concept, but this is called change set. Okay. So in change set of changes basically, and then you put those small concepts. Let's say you have created 5 objects in sandbox, you put all those 5 objects in the change set, and then from sandbox you do deploy outbound change set. Okay, so it's like sending your change set to the production. Okay, that's it. Create the change set, go to deploy. While you are still on the sandbox, go to deploy and say outbound change set. Okay, once you have done this, that thing has gone to the production. Now log in into production. Then go to deploy and click on inbound change set. That's it. It will ask you to validate the change set. Validate it. Done. Okay. In package, what happens? You create package, upload the package, you create the package, then you upload the package, and then you create package, upload package, and then you get the download URL, installation URL, you share it, share installation URL with whoever you want to share it with, and then that person needs to, the other person or the other org, you need to go and click on the URL and install it. Okay, the same way the sandbox thing also works, but here it's called a change set. You have to use from sandbox, you have to click on deploy outbound change set, and then you have to log in into the production, go to deploy and receive the change set. That's it. Why I'm talking about this is I just want you guys to have a fair understanding of how actual development is done, right? So if you just say that, okay, fine, I did an application development in your program, you might be asked that, okay, any question related to sandbox. All right. So this is the concept of the sandbox. Clear on it? Another thing about sandbox is what are the different types of sandbox. So I'm just going to share one thing with you. Okay. I'm going to share a link with you if you plan, wish to read a little more on the sandboxes, which is something really interesting. You can read it here. Can you see this? Okay. So there are different types of sandboxes. There are 4 types of sandboxes that we have primarily. First is the developer sandbox. So these are intended for coding and testing. Okay. And this includes a copy of your production organization's metadata or setup data, right? So it just has the metadata, means your objects and all those things of your production. Okay. Then you have developer pro sandbox. This environment includes a copy of production's organization metadata and setup data. They have a larger storage limit than developer sandbox. Okay, the storage limit is a little bigger than developer sandbox in this one. Okay, now the point is these 2 sandboxes just have the metadata. Okay, and you have the option of creating your own records in the sandbox for testing, right? So you can create your own records. Those records will be different from the actual production records, right? You can create some sample records here in the developer sandbox. In developer pro sandbox, you will have the option of creating more records, but they will also be sample records. Okay, so these are most of the times created for development. All right. So primary objective for this sandbox is developing new things. That is the reason why they are called developer sandbox. Now, while developing things, you can test them with 1, 2, 5, 6 records, right? But don't you think before that can be moved to production, you would want to test it against the real data, actual data, right? That is where your partial and full copies, full sandbox come into picture. Okay. See, partial copy sandboxes are intended to be used as testing environments. These are specifically meant for testing. Okay, where you want to do a real-time test by putting the real-time data. So these environments can be used for quality assurance. So to assure the quality, tasks such as user acceptance, testing, integration. Okay. These environments include a copy of your production organization's metadata and a subset. This is the important part of your production data as defined by a sandbox template. So this also, in addition to the metadata and setup data, this includes the production data as well. A copy, a subset of that, not the entire production data, subset of the production data is there, so that your testing team can do a thorough testing using the actual data of the production instead of working with the sample records. You know what happens with a sample record, right? In sample record there actually might be only 2 fields filled up and rest 20 fields might be empty. Okay, and your testing might not catch the errors because of the other field values and all. So for that reason, for testing, this is a good tool. Companies which want to do a good thorough testing before moving anything to production. Then there is a full sandbox. The only difference between a partial and full sandbox is full sandbox will have a copy of full copy. Exactly the replica of your production data will be in the full sandbox. Okay, and partial sandbox will have just a subset of your production data. So some part of your production data will be there. All right. So that's about sandbox. In case you wish to read a little more on the sandbox, I mean, I don't want you to spend too much time or get too much involved with the sandbox, because that is an area which will not be asked too much. But I just want you to have an overall understanding of sandbox. Sometimes you may get a question around the sandbox thing. That okay, fine. What kind of an environment you had? Did you have a sandbox, or did you have a sandbox along with a partial sandbox, or what type of a sandbox you were using? So it's better to be prepared on those lines also. While you're preparing a story for yourself, be prepared on that side also, that okay, when this is a type of sandbox that I was using, right? So that's about our sandbox concept. Okay. There is another thing that I want you to understand is auditing. Okay, audits, basically Salesforce audits. So there are different types of audits, which an administrator can perform time to time to figure out several things, right? Like let's say if I want to audit who made the changes in a particular record. Someone has made the change in a record, right? Now we have an option of last modified by. Have you seen a field called last modified by? It's there in all the objects, last modified by. So this is basically the field which helps you figure out who made the changes to a particular record. So if you see that there has been certain changes on a particular record, you can easily figure out that who made those changes, right? Last modified by. If you want to check who made changes in the setup menu, let's say there is a validation rule which is active, and someone has deactivated that, okay, and you want to figure out who made the changes, okay, so then you have an option of figuring it out from the setup audit trails. Give me a minute, I'll show it to you. One moment, please.
No, Sujit, I have a question. So, how do you use this last modified by option? It's like going to that particular record, or is there any other efficient way of doing it? If you're looking at, can it be done using a report, pulling up a report, or?
Yeah, definitely you can pull a report as well. I mean, if you have to look into multiple records, you will do it through a report, because that's a field and you can always fetch the value through a report. But if it's one record, let's say this Dickinson mobile generator is an opportunity, someone has messed up with the amount of this opportunity. So I can straight away go and check who's the gentleman who has done this. So if it's about a record, you will straight away look at here. If it's about multiple records, if you see that a lot of records have been modified, you simply generate a report and then check it who has done that. Got it?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now for this audit thing, there is one good option. Last modified by is a simple thing. I think you will not use that thing that much, but one minute. I think I'll have to make myself presenter again. Okay. Okay. So any changes in the setup, if you want to check, you should go to this view setup audit trail, and it will allow you to see who has made what all changes on the setup. This trigger was created, then this trigger was created. So whatever changed this FX class, changed this VF page V4, right? Who made what all changes, everything will get tracked here. Okay. The last 20 entries of your organization are listed below. You can download your organizations for last 6 months. You can download the setup audit trail for last 6 months. So which change was made by whom, everything can be tracked. Fine. So again, this also is kind of an advice to you all. Once you get into any kind of a job, if you get into a Salesforce job, please don't do anything. Don't feel that no one will get to know. They have provided an option of tracking last 6 months history. Fine. So if you have to make any changes, only if you have permissions, then do it. Otherwise, don't do any changes in the setup. Till the time you're not allowed to do that, right? So that is one thing.
Jeet, I have a question. So if you're testing something, if you develop something and you want to test it, and you're doing a partial testing in the production environment, then can we go back if we feel that okay, it's not efficient? I mean, if we want to go back, is that possible? Revert to the.
There's nothing called revert here. You just have to, let's say you have activated something and you don't think that that is correct, deactivate that. Or you have created something, you feel that's not right, delete that. So I mean, you do not have a control Z kind of an option which will automatically revert it, but you have that option. If by mistake you have created a trigger, sorry?
Yeah, so we can just go ahead and delete it.
You go ahead and delete it. That's absolutely fine.
Okay.
Right? So that is how it is. Okay. Apart from this, there is one more option, which is auditing the login history. So this is one thing that you might be interested in knowing, who has made what changes and all. In case someone is, doing some changes on the setup which you want to figure out, this option. If you want to check the login history, who is logging in at what time, this is one important thing that companies keep a track of. Login history. Who is logging in from where, which browser, what time, what IP address, correct? Which URL, everything can be tracked. Which user, okay, what time did he log in, from which IP address did he log in, okay, was it successful, what was the browser, what was the platform, okay. So this is again, required if you try to find out, if you try to find out that if let's say any particular user is logging in after the office hours or not, you just want to figure it out. Go to this login history thing, okay. And this this page only allows you to filter and display the last 20,000 login records. If you need records, you can download last 6 months as a CSV. So here on this page you can view the last 20,000 records, but again for this last 6 months login history you can see, correct? So imagine how much data Salesforce is maintaining for each of their client, correct? So many users, and it maintains all the 6 months login history, audit trails, everything. Right?
And if it's